Alright, welcome to Old World Gaming. We're currently in the middle of a series painting up Grinkrak to be the first Warboss for my Night Goblin army that I'm painting up for the Old World. The previous episode was the kind of bandagey bits on his staff or halberd. Could be either, I guess. So if you haven't watched the previous episodes, done one on his black and purple, and like I say, one on the bandages, go watch those. This episode, we're going to be painting his skin and probably his eyes as well. All right, so let's make a start. So for the skin that I'm using on my goblins, I'm going Castellan Green, Lauren Forest. Normally I just do the two shades when I'm batch painting. But I'll probably mix a bit of white in for maybe a final layer on Grinkrak. Okay, so let's get started. You may or may not have noticed, but I have remembered to remove the clock. So there we go. I'm also not sitting on the squeaky chair. Now the problem with not sitting on the squeaky chair is the other chair I've got is really hard. It's like an old dining table chair. So there we go, the sacrifices I make. Right, I'm running out of clean spots on my palette. I will need to clean it soon. So I use a palette to, I say palette, this is a bathroom towel, but it works perfectly. And it's nice and easy to clean because you just use hot water and it will just kind of rubs off with a scour or a brush or something like that. I don't know why I'm getting that. I don't need that yet. Got distracted talking about my tile. Okay, is that going to be thin enough? And is that going to be enough? Probably not. Okay, let's get a bit more. And I think I want to add a little bit of water to that. Not much, because it's probably about the right consistency. Okay, so he's got a few bits of flesh on him. This is the bit that I was worried about forgetting, so I'm going to do that first. Right under here, the tiniest little notch, you can barely see it, but it's between his bracelet and his sleeve. So I'm just going to put it on there. I've already made a mess of this. It's hard to see, but I can see it and it annoys me. So this bit just here went on his cloak. So I'm rubbing that off. So I'm just using a damp brush to, like a rubber basically, to take it off. So I just need to make sure I haven't got too much on my brush as I'm doing this bit. Slightly too far, but that'll do, I'm sure. Like no one's ever going to look at this bit anyway, but I know it's there. All right, that'll do for that bit. Great, wasn't that wonderful? Right, what else do we need to do? Let's do his face now. I've done the bit that I was worried about forgetting, so I can relax a little bit now. Okay, so we'll do inside his face. I feel like I probably should have gone for a darker colour first, but well, we'll see how it turns out. Let me have a look at this guy. Did I regret on this guy? I think no, he looks okay, doesn't he? Yeah, that's fine. We'll be all right. It just looks very light, but he's a goblin. Goblins don't have particularly dark skin anyway. I'm trying to be really careful. His nose is getting in the way, bending my paintbrush. Okay. Oh, this is really hard to see what I'm doing and show you what I'm doing. Okay, well, I've painted in his eye, and you know what? I'm just going to roll with it. I'll just paint it black again now if I want it black, which I probably will. Okay, that's fine. I was going to leave it black, but I don't, yeah, clearly I didn't. So we'll come back and paint it black. I've probably got too much on my brush to manage to leave this one black as well. There we go, did manage to leave most of that one black. Okay, so that's the first layer of his skin on his face. Am I happy with that? Yeah, I'm happy enough with that. Okay, right, let's do his hands. Let's do this one because I'm less likely to put my fingers all over this one. The other one, there's a good chance I'll end up touching that. I'm not sure what colour I'm going to paint his wand. I kind of feel like I'm going to do it black. That's where I'm leaning towards. There's a little black wand, so kind of don't want to get anything on it because it's going to stay that colour is the intention. At least that's what I'm thinking at the moment. I've got a tune in my head, I just had to stop myself from whistling. Yeah, switch into whistling mode quite easy. But I caught myself just as I was forming my lips to produce a whistle. I need a little bit more water in this paint. Yeah, this chair is really uncomfortable and makes my back hurt and my bum. There we go. I should probably, well, I think there's two parts to it. On my back, I think, is just the angle of this phone. Whereas my butt is because it's got a hard seat. So, there we go. Alright, that's this hand almost done. Just need to do that part there. As far as videos go, I'm hoping this one's going to be one of the shorter ones. But what interests me is my first video, the one where I'm painting the eyes of the archers, was a 9-minute video, and we are almost at 8 minutes for this video already. So there we go. It's not going to be the shortest one. I thought it would be because it's like all I'm doing is painting. I don't know, one guy's skin. But I guess for the archers, I literally was just doing their eyes. But I think I did like 10 guys, so it's 20 eyes. I feel like 2 hands, 2 cheeks. I don't know why. No, I can't see his cheeks, his forehead. And then that little tiny bit of his arm that we did to start off with. This is very intense. Just trying to make sure I get it all in the right places. And mostly that's the tough bit around here, and particularly, obviously, the particularly difficult bits is next to anywhere that I've already painted because I don't want to have to fix any of it, which I mean is doable, but I prefer not to. A bit more water in that, I think. Okay. This is the easy bit when it's not touching anything else, and then this is the hard bit when I get to where it's touching something I've already painted. But this is why I wanted to do the bandage first, because I knew I'd get it all over the skin if I didn't. So there we go. This last finger in here. And then we are done, I think. Okay, have we got everything? Yes, I think we do. I might add a tiny bit more to his forehead. I might have too much on the brush. Alright, okay, that, I think that is this layer done for us. Okay, there's no other skin showing, so let's do the next layer. Yes, let's. Okay, right. This layer is much easier because we don't have... the reason that layer took so long was the touching up against stuff that I really didn't want to have to repaint. Was this, for the most part, is just little dabs on top. So, for example, because I don't need to go close into anything, I'm just doing like a dab on there. There we go. I'm going to do a dab on this side. There we are. I need to get down into that cheek. So I feel like I've got too much, even though there's not much paint on my brush, it's still too far. I need it just right on the end of the point to be able to sneak past everything. So now you can see I've just got the teeny tiniest little bit on there. But that, I feel much more confident now sneaking past onto his cheek. There we are. I'll do the same on the other side. See, that is like the teeniest tiny little bit, isn't it? It feels, ooh, got a little bit too close to the camera. There we go. And that was a bit too far into his mask there. See if I can back that back out. Rub it away with my paintbrush. I went down into a crease that I didn't want to go into. I wanted to leave dark. So let's see if we can get that out. Okay. Alright, so that's that bit. And now let's do under here. So that's a nice easy little bit. Let's do just there. There we are. And then now for the hands. Okay, so get a bit more paint than I've got. Okay, I'm going to start with the back of his hand. I feel myself doing maybe a couple more layers on this because he's got those, are they sinews? I don't know, the bits, the ridges on the back of his hand, are they sinews? I don't know what they are, but they're getting painted. So I think I'll need to do another couple of layers. I think I'll do a layer on each of the ridges and then a layer on the knuckles. So we've probably got 2 more layers coming up after this. So you can see I'm leaving a gap between his wand and his hand now for this layer, just like we did with the purple layer. And I think I'll go so what I'm toying with is, do I leave a gap between that part, half of the palm, and this half of the palm? That's part of my hand, isn't it? These 2 bits here. Do I leave this bit the dark colour is what I'm contemplating. Maybe I can, well, if I want to try that, I need to take some paint off my brush. I'll just go for the tiny bit again that we did earlier with his face. Alright, let's try it. See how it looks. I'm unsure, it might be too dark, but then again, it might be alright. What do you reckon? It is a bit dark. Oh well, I think we'll be alright. I'm going to leave it and we'll get away with that. Right, our paint is drying rapidly. Okay, so the trouble with the paint being too dry is it leaves marks, like leaves like bristle strokes in it when it's too dry. I can see some on here. That annoys me. And here. So it's much better to have several thin layers than one big fat layer. Okay, so now I'm just going to follow each of the fingers around and then leave the dark green in the gap. Hopefully I don't splurge it too much. So it is a bit of a delicate job, this one. Follow that round. And last is little Pinky. I say Pinky, it's little Greenie. He's got green fingers. It's a Greenie, not a Pinky. That's funny. That amuses me a little bit more than it should. Goblin. What do goblins call their Pinkies? Do they call them Greenies? He does now. Right. This hand. Oh, dropped him. It's a bit tricky to do this bit. Maybe I'll do it like that instead. So again, I'm not going right up to his bracelet, leaving a gap between his bracelet and his hand, just to kind of provide like a shading, a shadow, a recess where they meet. Add some definition, and yeah, looks more. I don't know if it looks more natural, but it helps add definition at the very least. Okay. Now do his fingers. And then right on the end of his fingertips. Just realised I was off camera, sorry. Alright, how's that looking? Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Okay, so we've got his primary layer on there now. So now it's just a case of adding some highlights. So I think we will go with 2 layers of highlights. One kind of mid-tone highlight on his on the ridges on the backs of his hands, and then we'll do another slightly lighter one. This is what I'm thinking. We'll see what happens. Yeah, and then a slightly lighter one right on his knuckles. So that's where we're going. So for this layer, I'm adding a little bit of white to the mix. So I'm putting it to the side before I mix it in, because if I just put it straight in, it could go too light. Yeah, see, that's about as light as I want to go, so it's a good job I didn't dump it all in. So I don't actually, it's quite a subtle highlight that we're after. So I'm rolling my brush around to squeeze the paint out so I don't have to wash it and can just use it as is. So this is why I probably didn't need to keep these as two separate areas and could have just gone across the whole area. Because I'm doing this layer. So now I'm just doing on all of the raised areas and leaving the dips. So I've just done the bits around his thumb. Do the ridges on the back of his hand, if I can see them in this light properly. The light plays tricks on my eyes. So I'm not sure I can really see what I'm doing. Never mind. That's kind of all right. And follow his fingers around as well again. Okay, yeah, maybe I'll do this bit too. Okay, cool. That's that. We'll do this other hand before I want to tackle his face, because I need to wash my brush board before I do his face, because I can't have all this. That's way too much paint for trying to squeeze into the gaps on his face. There we go, so you can see I've just done the ridges on the back of his hand, and it actually looks really good now I've done that. Just run his fingers around again. Do the ends. Okay. Right, I'm going to wash my brush before I do his face. Just going to do the tiniest little highlight on the ridge of above his eyes. There. And here, that's probably enough on his face. Oh, maybe I do a tiny bit in here, maybe. Okay. Yeah, is that right? I don't know. I'm not sure how happy I am with his face. I don't quite like that really dark line down there. So I'm just going to take our original green, where was it? We used Castellan green, and shove that tiny bit of that in that gap. See if that makes me happier. So it's a little bit dark between the top of his head, the top of his face and the bottom of his face. And that's looking a bit better. Okay. Yeah, I'm uncertain. I don't know, maybe, you know what, I think I like the other side, where it's not pure black in his eye. Maybe that's what it is that I'm approving of. So I'm going to do this. I feel like that was probably a mistake, but I've done it now anyway. So what was that? That was the dark colour, wasn't it? Let's quickly go back up with the lighter colour in the bottom. So this is part of painting, is just trying stuff out, doing something, redoing it, seeing how you get on, really. Yeah, I'm a little bit happier with that. Alright, we'll see where we go later. May end up just painting the back end. Right, so we are now doing the last highlight. So I'm going to do on his knuckles, basically, for this layer. I've got some white here. I've got white, but I don't have green. So you just can't do that on a white knuckle. White knuckles. White knuckle ride. That's the thing, isn't it? And that's probably about the colour I want. I think. So I was just testing it on this one over here, which is the last one we did. Alright. This might be a little bit too thick, but go with it. So I'm literally just doing it on his knuckles, and I'll follow that. Do all those fingers. And his fingertips. Okay, yeah, that looks good on his knuckles. I'll do the other hand over here. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay, that's cool. And I don't know, maybe just do, instead I wasn't going to, but I changed my mind. Right on the end, the edge of his forehead. And there we are. Okay, that is his skin done, I think, apart from that. Fingertip looks a bit weird. I'm regretting that a little bit because that paint had gone a bit too dry by the time I touched it. It just left a bit of a lump on it. Oh no, I can hear. For some reason my laptop is starting to make some noise. Right, I'm just going to quickly put some red in his eyes. I'm going to put a tiny bit of Rhinox hide in first, just to kind of soften it so it's not bright shiny red from the off. So let me see what I'm doing. A little bit of Rhinox hide to give a base for the red eyes, and then the other eye as well. Okay, so now he's got brown eyes, Rhinox hide brown, and then we'll just do a tiny little dab of blood red in each of his eyes. I probably won't even put this on my palette because I've got the teeny tiniest bit on my brush. Don't even see my brush in here. Right, let's see if I can get this in his eye without getting everywhere else. This is going to be a little bit tough for two reasons. One, because it's really hard anyway. Two, my eyes are going funny. I think the paint dried on my brush, it took so long. Okay, we've got one eye. Get a fresh bit of paint on there because it did dry my brush. That's quite, I don't know, that might be too much. Let's see if we can get it in there without smearing it everywhere. Oh, that was a good shot. That was right in there. Makes the other one look a little bit dim. See if we can get the other one again. That looks a bit too bright. I'm just going to tone it down a bit, hopefully. Apologies if my laptop sounds quite loud. I don't know what it's doing, an update or something. It's a little bit annoying. Doesn't it now? I'm doing a video. Alright, there we go. I think that is probably as good as we are going to get his eyes for today. But yeah, that looks alright. So there we go. That is his skin done. Alright, well, hopefully that was insightful and helpful. If you like that, let me know. Give me some feedback in the comments. Like and subscribe, and yeah, share it with your friends. Alright, thanks.